What's up, everybody? My name is Gianfranco, and welcome back to Phoenix Rice. Phoenix Rice. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Last time was a pretty crazy trial. Chief Gant refusing to testify in the end. That was quite something. But now we have Lana back on the stand. She's going to testify everything, or hopefully everything. But yeah, Chief Gant is
An asshole.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Alaskay, please take the stand? Miss Alaskay, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth in this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana, if this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly, like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth in this blackmailing theory. Let's press. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 so that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia. That one Gant was a respectable detective, that's why... But think about this, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still didn't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And... Okay. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana. So, that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dream was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's how Highway went down. He's trying to cover up her lies with more lies, all just to protect me. So, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, put it inside the wound, and moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the body, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for Jessica or others. Why? Why did you do that? Come on now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Okay. I know the tip, wait. Okay. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and I'm leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound? Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists that she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it. Okay. Let's go here. And then ask why she moved the body. Even though you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gunn's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more details. Okay. The pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that rich jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had already been shattered to pieces. If you look at the crime scene, it will be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there is more to it than that. There's There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. It had nothing to do with Emma. To rearrange the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do it to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? Alright. Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life would have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction? In my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. You have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecution must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And, jeez. In order for the victims to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on the shattered jar. Order. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards of this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you are in the dark as you're as in the dark as we are about the truth toward which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive to the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was in a dark room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean, you were the one who wiped away the message in the blood? I wasn't Chief Prosecutor at the time. He didn't think Dark was the real murder. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. The jar and message in blood. So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case, but not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You are a nice detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to the dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? Seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. Someone appeared upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, You wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a bucket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene? Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've got into the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradiction in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But wouldn't the defendants have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Duncan arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister, Emma, killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Letting his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Kai became the chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorney, make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, right? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Kai, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Kai, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright. The witness may testify once more for the final time. The actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconsciously on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I raised all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene that I encountered it, as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? It seems... I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Mr. Wright. Okay, she said that there's a cut here. It's a good thing that I caught a glimpse of the text. Yeah, that there's a cut on here. The cloth we found inside of Chief Gant. So that the cloth is from this thing. This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whosever footprints those are must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints are yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you can tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murder. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. The actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body in... Come on now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gaunt. What? Now you want to make me out of as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeit your right to make a statement of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back and relax. And enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all of the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone. So, what's your excuse, Rido? Why have you been keeping quiet about this? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who not over Neil Marshall's causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall. Alright. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And this is the trial about Lana, not Emma. So I remember, this is the one thing that I remember because usually, like in all the previous chapters, you always say, yes, show the evidence because, you know, you always had the evidence. If I'm not misremembering, and this is where you can screw yourself very much. If you say show evidence, it's an automatic game over. If I remember correctly, maybe it's something else, but I'm pretty sure it's during this choice. I remember because I looked it up because I was like, that's so weird. Why can't I like do anything? And you had to choose cannot show evidence because the cloth is unregistered. It's an unregistered piece of evidence, and it's irrelevant to the case, so we can't show it. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie? Chief Gaunt? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gal, Rido. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Kai. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hate the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood of all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message of this jar too? Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I keep one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Rido. Cough it up already. I know you have it up. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth to cut the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all. But it's also better than being portrayed as the murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Rido. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess it up, victory is mine. Oh. And I guess save just to be safe, because if I choose the wrong one, I'm screwed. No, it's too late to show the evidence now. Besides, even if I did, just expose that poor girl's fingerprint, right? Think hard over the circumstances. I'll think about then and now. There's one major difference between the two. Weren't you waiting for that difference? So, I should figure out my plan. Mr. Wright, this is your only chance. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright, then, let's see this. Okay. Is it? Huh. Mr. Edgeworth, your opinion, please? I think Mr. Wright is humorous as a proof as the expense of... Okay. That's not the correct one. Oh wait, did I screw myself up already? It's on this. Okay, no. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Okay, I'm just trying to guess. Okay. Okay, let's think about this. Wait, did I screw up when I said you don't have to, you have to... Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, what? Wait. What? Okay, I thought I clicked this before and it didn't work. That was weird, okay. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes! At last, you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on it, on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution's request has been immediately sent to the lab for the analysis. This handprint on the letter. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be untouching conclusive evidence. Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Rydell had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright? Do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. Should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma. Emma Skye! What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why did you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Rydell. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. But it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant then is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter? Can't got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gaunt, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contained a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could possibly contradict? Chief Grant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Not your attorney badge. There's a lot of blood. And there's no blood in the piece of cloth. And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Kai took. Take a good look at it. See where the pieces of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutors aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gunt, let me ask you something. Mr. Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could have seen it? Who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armored sword. Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that's been broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted, only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over. That was close, Rhino. You almost had me. Sorry, but you have to do better than that. I refuse your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegation? You see that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Order, order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Haji? Earlier, Allrider here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rhino? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gunn's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? Just in case. No. I admit, I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gunt. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Haji! Don't listen to his lies! He's nothing but a coward you can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of the evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of cloth. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the irrelevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You what? Relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry about... but can you recall when that picture was presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gunt. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes. No. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murder, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gunt, the killer was you! No. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he also. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then, all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker And as he was talking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble it, so I hurried to wipe it up. I wasn't worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You'll make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecutor's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I feel bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So you left the jar fragment and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to him. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try and go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Aji. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel our lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damangant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator, and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Bridal here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sound of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damangan betrayed you from the very beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had gone to help me forge evidence, up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. Oh, jeez. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and I guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor? You're innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is still you acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding your charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. Woo! That is all. This court is adjourned. Hello, that's finally over. Emma? Quite a long face. I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. Oh no, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. Oh, you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come by later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty? And on top of it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, let it up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis has gone to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, and I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you on that day, in hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was Whoa! What a weird hiccup. I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Look at his face. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth, not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gunn was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Oh, I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary. But I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gunn did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a persecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Don Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it comes to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on your own, I need a weapon. That may be true. But think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Is that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Evidence list. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. He had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened. You can let what happened kill the Prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems all you might thanks to, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. Okay. But I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific Investigation? This is the first book I ever bought. Studied well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking out just yet, pal. Huh? What is this, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Right here is the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What do you think? What do you think I could afford with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Right. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. And here we have it. The ending of Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. I'm sorry that it took long. Oh wait, I arranged for a friend of mine to... okay? Oh, she'll be pleased to study under a tub, blah blah. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field tomorrow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Yeah, I was going to say, sorry that it took longer to have the final chapter be posted. A lot of stuff happened. But yeah, I'm finally happy that I ended up recording this. Yikes! I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake off that easily. But yeah, finally happy that I got a way to finish recording this, and I'm happy to go on to another series for Let's Plays. So that was really fun. Oh, meetings. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show him though. Someday, I'm going to make a detective. Yes, sir! Then, I can just be like that Dick Gumshoe. So yeah, that was quite fun. And, you know, I... still dancing there. I do hope that you enjoyed this little adventure. Not really adventure, but those few trials. And oh no, it broke down. But yeah, I'm happy. Everything went well. Didn't have any like issues. I think, hopefully not. But yeah, there was also the oh wait, what is it? Can't you see I'm having Mia Shauna? Miss Stars managed to sneak this up with me. She's seeing one of the gods, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Biddy and the gang get their water? But yeah, I was gonna say... there's also the fact that those few parts were longer. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The right way to lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller. Just make sure you don't eat it backwards. Isn't she sweet? But yeah, these few parts were a little bit longer, so... yeah. That's really all I have to say. I don't really have much to add, other than it's a good game. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said at the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Come on. Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to. Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. So yeah, one of these days I might play the sequel, but I'm gonna play it blind, completely blind, because I'm, you know, like most game, playing blind is, you know, get a better I feel like you get a better experience, and it's also, in my opinion, it's kind of fun when people see a first-hand reaction. Nothing suits the soul like fresh air, so sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objections. Still, I can go back until I'm a full-fledged sprayed medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin! Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. But yeah, I do plan on let's playing the sequel and the third game. But like I said, blindly, or excuse me, what was it, the thing? First time play. What was the thing that they banned on Twitch because saying blind let's play was offensive? Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, I offered you your tea. What's going on? What was it? First playthrough? Something like that. So I'm going to do my first playthrough of the sequel and the third game. Eventually. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Ain't that cute? Capcom. They're not only responsible for Mega Man's and the Monster Hunters. And there we have it. New game. So we did them all. Chapter 5 is it's like the big one. It's really like, I'm pretty sure that this is the one that people found the most difficult, but my favorite would be this one, I think, especially with Von Karma. Von Karma is really stressful. The first time I played and like you try to press the witness and he's just interrupts you and be like,
It's irrelevant. Stop wasting my time.
but yeah. So which one is it? Justice for All is the second one. Frozen Tribulation is the third one. Okay, so we have episode 1, The Lost Turnabout. So eventually I'll play Justice for All. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. You know, you experienced my point of view of playing this game. And yeah, I'll see you on the next Let's Play, which I'm still not sure what it's going to be, but surprise. I'm going to surprise y'all with the game. So I'll see you when it's ready. I will probably already have like a few episodes already recorded by the time this one goes up. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.